For section 6.1, we're going to deal with isosceles triangles and properties of them. First thing we notice about the base of the isosceles triangle is there's a perpendicular bisector because it's 30 and 30 and a 90-degree angle. This means that it's cutting the angle in half. If one angle is 37, that means the other angle has to be 37. To find y, we have to remember that it is an isosceles triangle, and since it is an isosceles triangle, that means if one of the sides is 50, the other side is 50. Since ABC is an isosceles triangle, and we know that AB and BC are the congruent sides, and we notice that BD is perpendicular to line AC, that means that AD and DC are congruent. Half of 30 is 15. That means that AD is 15 and DC is 15. Section 2, we're dealing with angle bisectors and the incenter of a circle. Since point C is equidistant to ray AB and to ray AD, that means it's on the perpendicular bisector, which means that AB and AD have to be the same. And since AB is 8, that means that AD has to be 8. Since we said that AC was the angle bisector of angle BAD, that means if one of those angles, CAD, is 35, that means that CAB is 35. And since we're looking for the measurement of DAB, and we know that one of the angles that makes up it is 35, the other angle that makes it up is 35, and 35 plus 35 is 70, that means that DAB is 70 degrees. Let's look at AG. AG is 40, so I just write down 40. The point BG is a little bit harder, but as we notice, AG is an angle bisector, CG is an angle bisector, and EG is an angle bisector. And the intersection of three angle bisectors is known as the incenter of the triangle, which means the incenter of the triangle, the distance from that to any of the sides will be the same. So since GD is 10, that means BG is 10. And FG is the other one. And this is because they are all the radiuses of the incenter of the circle. And I said EG was an angle bisector. Well, if FEG is 50 degrees, that means GED is also 50 degrees. Section 6.3 is all about the centroids of the triangles. GD is the smallest segment of the median, the part that goes from the side to the centroid. Then the distance from the centroid to the vertex will be double that, which is 12. And to find the distance from A to D, that'll be 12 plus 6. We also could have figured it out because GD, the smallest distance, times 3 will give us the total distance, which is 18. So if GD is 6, GA is 12, and AD is 18. Now, if GE is 6, that is the middle distance, not the shortest and not the total. That means the shortest distance will be half of 6, so BG will be 3, and 6 plus 3 is 9. Also, since we knew that the shortest distance was 3, 3 times 3 is also 9. So if GE is 6, that means GB is 3 and BE is 9. If CF is 6 and CF is the longest distance, that means the total distance will be 6. So we're going to take that total distance, divide it by 3, and that will tell us the shortest distance, which is 2. And if the shortest distance is 2, we double that to find the middle distance, which is 4. So if CF is 6, that means that CG is 4 and GF is 2. The biggest issue we'll have with this problem is actually paying attention to the letters that are being told to you and making sure that you get the properties right. It's going to be multiplying by 3, multiplying by 2, dividing by 3, adding up. It's all really easy, but you have to pay attention. Section 6.4 is really pushing the do not trust what you see, trust what you know. First thing we know is the measure of angle 7 is equal to the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 5 by the external angle theorem. Since all angles have to be greater than 0, that means that the measure of angle 1 and the measure of angle 5 have to be less than 7 because they have to add up to 7. So I circle them because they are guaranteed to be smaller than 7. Using the exterior angle theorem again, we know that the measure of angle 7 is equal to the 1, 2 angle, so the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3, which means the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 and the measure of angle 3 have to be smaller than 7. Well, if 1 plus 2 is smaller than 7, then 2 by itself has to be smaller than 7. And so we've added 3 more circles to this problem. The way this picture is set up, it looks like angles 6 and 4 are going to be greater than angle 7. Well, if I made angle 7 obtuse, then it would look like 6 and 4 were smaller. So we cannot guarantee that 6 and 4 are larger or smaller than angle 7. Since I can't guarantee it, I am not going to circle 4 and 6. I can guarantee, though, that angle 7 will not be smaller than angle 7 since they're the same number, which also means that I can tell you that angle 6 plus angle 7 will definitely not be smaller than angle 7 because angle 7 is part of the original and 6 cannot be equal to 0. Since angle 8 and angle 9 are actually not even in the picture, then I am guaranteed that I have no knowledge of how big or small they are going to be. Notice that angles 5 and 4 make a linear pair. That means they add up to 180 degrees. And since 180 degrees is the biggest an angle can be, for now, that means that angle 7 will be smaller than it, which means that it cannot be part of our list. Remember, do not trust the picture, trust the numbers. So to figure out if triangle A is a triangle, we're going to take the 2 small sides, add them up, and see if they're greater than the third side. So 3 plus 5 is greater than 8. So triangle A is actually a triangle. However, for triangle B, 2 small sides, 1 plus 5 is equal to 6. And it turns out that 6 is not greater than 6 because they're equal. So triangle B is not a triangle. And triangle C, the 2 small sides, 22 and 33, add up to 55, which turns out is also not greater than 100. So triangle C is also not a triangle. Since it asks us which ones are not triangles, that means B and C are the correct answers. So we need to know what X is. The possibilities range from the smallest side to the largest side. So let's start with the smallest side. For X to be the smallest side, that means the largest side subtracted by the middle side is going to be equal to the smallest number that it can't be, which in this case, 10 minus 7 is 3. And if X is the largest side, that means that it has to be slightly smaller than AB plus BC. So 10 plus 7 is 17. Making sure I got my greater than or less than symbols right, I notice that 3 is less than X, which is less than 17. For section 6-7, let's play with isosceles triangles again. Since we're looking at the relationship between AB and BC, we're going to look at the angles formed by the ray DB. We have 27 and 33, and we know that 27 is less than 33. So that means the measurement of ADB is less than the measurement of BDC, which I put for the reason why. In this case, the smaller angle is going to make the smaller segment. So AB is going to be smaller than BC. So AB is less than BC. This second question is really just testing if you were paying attention to what the letters mean. Green is the angle ADC, and blue is the angle BDC. So green adds together the two measurements, which gives us 6 degrees, and blue is the 33-degree angle. Well, 60 is greater than 33, so measurement of angle ADC is greater than the measurement of angle BDC. For the next problem, we're looking at the angle in red and the angle in green. Notice that the segment for the angle in red is 15 and the segment for the angle in green is 12. Notice that the drawing is a lie because 15 is drawn clearly smaller than 12 to try to confuse you. Now, since 15 and 12 are in that order, and we know that 15 is greater than 12, that means we know that the measure of angle ADB is greater than the measure of angle BDC. So I marked AD in yellow and I marked AC in blue. This is a review of Chapter 1. Since the yellow segment is 15 and the blue segment is 15 plus 12, which is 27, then we know, since 15 is smaller than 27, that AD is smaller than AC. Remember, the questions on the review sheet are only similar to the ones on the test. Copying down the answers without understanding what you're doing will not help you on the test. Try your best, study, be the best you.